Welcome to Andy and Ari on 3. Ari will be here later in the show, but we got to talk about what's coming down on Friday. The big news on Thursday is that there will be news on Friday regarding the Connor Stalions sign-stealing scandal at Michigan. The NCAA Committee on Infractions is expected to release its findings and its punishments for Michigan on Friday. This is obviously probably a bigger concern to Michigan, to Ohio State fans who obviously are very upset about this whole thing and have been for 2 years. Michigan State fans also very upset about this thing, have been for 2 years. I think the wider college football world has just looked at it as more of a curiosity, but I am very interested for a lot of reasons. One, because it's Michigan. Two, this involved a national championship team. Three, it's one of the rare NCAA cases where it wasn't the NCAA enforcement staff trying to keep players from getting money, which is what most of these have been. This was a genuine fair play kind of case. And they didn't actually have a ton of those. When you think about through the years, they've had to deal with some point shaving type things, but most of those are open and shut. The players were kicked out, and a lot of times the FBI did the hard work on those. So this is a very unusual situation. Of course, it involves Jim Harbaugh. The Connor Stalions thing remains one of the weirder situations in college football history. So what's going to happen? I think that's the biggest question is what penalties will Michigan, the school, face? What penalties will Sherrone Moore face? There's two things at play here. So we'll start with Michigan, the school. They could give Michigan a postseason ban. That is one thing that the committee could hand down. If that were to happen, Michigan will appeal it, and Michigan, if it lost that appeal, probably would sue the NCAA at that point. They have pretty much promised to fight that tooth and nail and ensure that they do not get a postseason ban at any point. So if that were to come down, it would not mean that this year's Michigan team is banned from the postseason, because basically the appeal would carry through and then we'd see what happened with the appeal. But again, if they lost that appeal, they're taking that to court. So I'm not sure you're going to see that. I think if you look at the most recent high-profile case with Tennessee, with the Jeremy Pruitt stuff, they basically said, hey, NCAA, we'll pay a giant fine here. We're happy to pay a giant fine. I think Michigan's probably going to do that too. And I know if you're an Ohio State fan, you're sitting there going, well, that doesn't do anything. They've got tons of money. They're just going to throw a bunch of money at the problem. The Michigan fans who always joked about firing the money cannon once Michigan was finally allowed to pay players. Well, this is where the money cannon could be put to very good use if you have to pay a giant fine. The fact of the matter is, in this world, in this version of NCAA land, there's really not much they can do that will hinder Michigan's ability to stock its roster. That used to be what a lot of the punishments were about, is we're going to take this many scholarships away. We're going to take this many official visits away. We're going to take this many evaluation days away in recruiting. That's just not going to happen anymore, because it wouldn't matter. Like, a lot of your recruiting is based on how much you can pay. They can't change how much Michigan can pay, because that's governed by the House versus the NCAA settlement. So they don't even have the power to do that. You could take away scholarships, but again, that's a problem you can solve with money. You just find some NIL deals, and suddenly guys aren't paying tuition, or their tuition's covered. Like, all of the old stuff really doesn't work anymore. So really what they've got is a large fine and probably a hefty punishment for Jim Harbaugh, which again doesn't matter because he's now the coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. He's not coming back to college football. So you can punish him. You could give Jim Harbaugh a 40-year show cause, and it wouldn't matter because he ain't coming back to college football. But they could say, hey, we handed down this very heavy penalty against the head coach, and we have this head coach responsibility legislation, and that is as much as we could do. Connor Stalions is going to get a huge penalty. Connor Stalions is never going to work in college football again anyway, but he's going to get a huge penalty. I don't know what they're getting. I'm telling you right now, he'll get that. More interesting is what happens to Sherrone Moore, the current head coach, because he got roped into this thing too. So when all this stuff went down, Sherrone Moore deleted a string of messages between himself and Connor Stalions on his cell phone. If you've ever tried to delete messages on your cell phone, you know this is a two-step process if you actually want them to not be on your phone anymore. So when it came down that the Michigan coaches needed to preserve all their communications, particularly with Connor Stalions, he realized he had deleted those messages, but he also realized he had not taken the second step, which is you go to the trash and permanently delete. They were still on there. So when Sherrone Moore gave his phone to the NCAA, all of those messages were there for the NCAA enforcement staff to look at. If there'd been a smoking gun type message like, hey, Connor, can you give me these signs for this game? Believe me, the NCAA would have leaked it by now. So I don't think there's a smoking gun. But just the act of deleting him is grounds for the NCAA to slap him with failure to cooperate. So the question is, what does that mean? Michigan tried to negotiate a suspension for Sherrone Moore before their Committee on Infractions hearing. And basically what Michigan handed forward to the committee to consider was this: 2-game suspension, but not the first 2 games, because they want him coaching against Oklahoma, his alma mater, in game 2. So he would coach against New Mexico and Oklahoma. The suspension would begin against Central Michigan, which, yes, is the most hilarious team that it could possibly begin against, because remember, Central Michigan was the team that let Connor Stalions on its sideline opening night 2023, and he was there in sunglasses and trying to steal Michigan State signs, I guess, to help Central Michigan, I think. Then Sherrone Moore would be out for the Michigan Big Ten opener against Nebraska. Then there would be an open date, and they'd play Wisconsin, and he'd be back. That is what they offered. It is unclear if that's what the committee will accept. It was not necessarily expected to be accepted when it was offered. So the committee could try to tack more games on. If they do, I suspect Sherrone Moore will fight that. I suspect he will still serve the Central Michigan and Nebraska suspension and then fight anything additional, which would push it probably to another season. So we'll see what happens. Maybe there's a scenario where there's a third ad and they're like, hey, we just don't want to deal with this anymore. Let's just serve the third and be done. But if it's more than that, I'm guessing they fight. But they still serve these 2, because that way you can kind of split it up if you ultimately have to serve them later. We'll see, though. I'm not sure there's anything that's going to satisfy the mad Ohio State fans, because they want a postseason ban. They want victories vacated. They want national titles stripped. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I've been wrong before, but I do not think that's going to happen in this case. One, because Michigan would immediately appeal, and if they lost the appeal, they would sue. And I don't think the NCAA wants a lawsuit from Michigan right now. The NCAA enforcement staff is already neutered pretty much to the nth degree. And the thing we need to ask about this after this case is there really even a need for it anymore? Remember, the conferences started this CSC, which is going to police third-party payments in the NIL space and police whether people are trying to circumvent the rev share cap with third-party NIL deals. That group is probably going to be the one that has a little more power and a little more power to levy actual punishments and power to do something. It may be that the days of NCAA enforcement being the boogeyman are just over. It's not like 1987 when SMU gets the death penalty. It's not like 2010, which, by the way, 5 years after Reggie Bush stopped playing, USC finally gets hit with massive scholarship reductions in the Reggie Bush case. Part of the reason is stuff like that happened. Like the Reggie Bush case, 5 years later, USC gets kneecapped. Bush is gone. Every coach that was there is already gone. And all of a sudden, Lane Kiffin's the one dealing with that. And players who were in middle school are dealing with the results of that. It's part of the reason everybody hates the NCAA. So they never had a good mechanism for punishing people. And I think that's part of the issue here. I think that's why trust in them eroded. It's why people dislike them now. And it's probably why this is probably the last gasp case for NCAA enforcement. Now, we'll see whether they try to show their teeth one more time, or do they just kind of go quietly into the night? Because at this point, that version is gone. The people working there probably already starting to look for other jobs. I just don't know what it would serve them to really try to slap Michigan with a bunch of stuff, because again, Michigan's going to appeal. If they don't win the appeal, they're going to sue. So you don't really want to face that lawsuit. One of the things that the NCAA enforcement always feared was going to a real court of law and then having their enforcement process sort of laid bare, because it's not like the judicial process in criminal cases. It's not like the real American court system, where you've got to have real evidence. And a lot of the stuff that they did was pretty shaky. So this is why people don't trust them. And I don't think people are going to be particularly unhappy to see them fade away, but they're going to be fading away probably shortly after this one. Question is, how much longer does this one have? Does it have a tail? Does the Committee on Infractions impose penalties that cause this to stretch longer? Or do they just say, you know what? There's nothing we can really do here. We're done with this thing. We will find out on Friday. We have a big, big show for you today. Tennessee is leaving Nike for Adidas. I don't think the fans are real happy about that, but I think the athletic department and its bank account is thrilled about that. We also have a great interview with Washington head coach Jedd Fisch, another great interview with Arizona State head coach Kenny Dillingham, and yet another great interview with Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles. What a day ahead. So let's get started. We'll bring back Ari, and let's talk Tennessee and Adidas. The big news in college football heading into Thursday morning was the late Wednesday drop that Tennessee is headed back to Adidas after being a Nike school for 12 years. They will head back to Adidas after this next season. So they'll wear Nike this season, then they're back to Adidas. They're going to make a lot more money. So the Nike deal between product and cash was about $5 million a year. The Adidas one is about $20 million a year reportedly. And probably that also helps go to players in terms of revenue sharing, because that just increases revenue, period. But also, Adidas has been pretty aggressive in signing college football players to NIL deals, and I would imagine Adidas would like them to go to schools that wear Adidas. Now, they don't all do that, because Jeremiah Smith's an Adidas guy, and he plays at a Nike school. But this is an interesting one, because I've seen a lot of pushback from Tennessee fans who don't want 3 stripes. They want that swoosh.
Andy, on a scale from 1 to 10, how aggressive can I be right now?
You can be as aggressive. I don't think Adidas is ever going to sign up to sponsor us. So I think if you want to go scorched earth and bring up some of the uglier Adidas uniforms throughout history, you go right ahead.
How many uniforms have they messed up, like off the top of your head? Remember when Michigan was in Adidas school, how awful those jerseys were?
They didn't have access to maize, which is one of the school colors, because Nike had maize.
The design of the uniforms looked like an infant did it. It was awful. And I don't know. So here's my take on this. If you're the school in the world of rev share, you have to bolster your pockets any way that you can, right? Like, you have to do that. It makes sense. You're not going to drag Tennessee for doing it, because Tennessee wants to, make their pockets as thick as possible, because, as you said, a healthier wallet means a healthier roster. And it might not go directly to it, but I think in general, being well-rounded financially is a good thing. But the worst part about this, and everybody always talks about the uniforms are going to suck, or how many uniforms have they messed up in the past. But the thing that always seems to get lost in the mix of the uniform sponsorship conversation is the number one thing that impacts fans, which is it's not just what Tennessee's uniforms look like on Saturdays. It's all the official gear that the people that like Tennessee have to buy. And like, let's be honest, it's a fact that Adidas is not nearly as clean as Nike, period. Like, I don't know about you guys. Do you even own any like Adidas, like non-logoed things? Like,
I actually was looking at some shoes today, and I was looking at some Sambas because I like the Adidas Samba. It's a cool shoe. I've owned them before, but yeah, most of my shoes are Nikes, and most of my apparel is Nike. Of course, a lot of my apparel is Roback, which is a show sponsor. So,
by the way, Roback,
RHOBACK, code Andy for 20% off your first purchase.
Are we supposed to do this right now? I don't know if we are. We have a schedule. Roback sent me some joggers. Did you get the joggers?
The joggers are amazing.
My God, I think they might be the most comfortable pants I wore them to dinner.
So good. I have them in gray and navy now. Oh, it's
but
it's like not even wearing pants.
All my stuff, my entire life has just been Nike for the most part, and hopefully Roback will continue to change that. But socks are Nike, shorts are Nike, apparel, shirts are Nike, and like if you're a fan, you know Nike's better than Adidas. And now you have to go to your bookstore or your official team shop or go online, and all of your Tennessee gear is going to be Adidas. And that's the biggest drawback of this whole thing. And there might be some people in there that go, "You're crazy. Nike sucks," or whatever. I don't know if there's a political reason to hate Nike right now. I'm sure there is. But like Nike's stuff has just been the best, period. And then also
Adidas has a checkered history with the apparel and with the uniforms. And I guess pun intended, checkerboard end zone at Tennessee. But Adidas has put some historically vaunted programs in some hideous uniforms. River, let's take a look at Nebraska, the one they made them wear a few years ago.
Oh my God.
That is an abomination. Like, whoever approved that uniform design should be fired.
And it's not even just
all the people
design,
in Nebraska
dude.
were fired. So
it's not even the design, dude. They don't even fit right. Has anybody had a bigger?
Ari, before you go on, you want to see a Michigan one?
Yeah, please. That's a perfect segue. Dude, it looks like somebody had a bad day learning Photoshop. It's awful. It's truly, utterly awful. But the thing I was going to say before you showed that is the perfect segue. You're talented. Has anybody had a bigger come up in the apparel world than Michigan fans? They went from the ugliest
Jordan brand now.
But now, like, Michigan's uniforms are. Could you imagine Michigan won their national title wearing that? Like,
I don't think they would have. I think they would have been so embarrassed when they ran out onto the field in some of those games, they would have lost.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe in the look good, feel good, play good?
Not exactly, because if Adidas wants to pay me millions of dollars to wear Adidas, I will wear Adidas.
I believe in look good, feel good, play good. I think that players, it was a bad day in Tennessee's locker room. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. And Adidas has done some good, like the boosts, those ultra boosts.
Boosts are great. I did own quite a few pairs of boosts. They are very comfortable.
So they have some good shoes, and they did before Kanye West went insane. Like they had the Yeezy partnership, and they had some nice stuff. Like they've done some things to keep their brand relevant. But like Adidas to me is always and will always be in my head a soccer brand, like a European thing. Like people in Europe, my mom is from Israel. I've been out there. Like I've been in Europe a lot. Like it's a very European, Middle East. Like that's their.
It's luxury. A German brand.
Yeah,
like it's from Germany.
It's. We don't need to get started on how it was founded, but let's just go down the list of things that college football players want, and I think it's NIL deals and apparel deals, right? Like that's the number one thing for them. Yeah,
I mean, and it's not. If if you get more money from Tennessee now, you will go to Tennessee and wear Adidas and be happy with it.
I was actually coincidentally like in the group chat with my friends talking about this like 2 weeks ago. Before NIL and before paychecks came directly to players, where do you think the apparel deal was on the list of priorities for recruits back in the old days?
Incredibly high.
Top 3, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you can transcend that now. I'd wear anything. And that brings me to my number one question to you. And River, River's a Tennessee fan. Bring him up here and ask him, River, how do you feel about this? Do you want to buy their stuff now, or are you depressed by this?
I mean, I get the deal that you take with how much they put on the table. Like, you cannot decline that in this era.
I'm asking you, are you upset about it? For your own
yeah.
And the thing is, like, none of your Vols stuff is going to match what they wear now.
None. I'd rather have a Nike polo, although get your Roback Tennessee ones now. But
that's right.
Awesome.
Roback with the stadium collection.
Mm-hmm.
My, because they do have Tennessee. So you just get the Tennessee Roback stuff. And you don't have to worry about this.
Yeah, I mean, everything.
It just dropped this week.
Yeah, everything gear-wise as far as Tennessee and fandom is going down, I think. Every aspect. As far as, like, what you would prefer as a fan, I think. Like, at this point, just give me New Balance. I've been saying that. Everyone thinks I'm crazy, but give me
the New Balance Boston College uniforms look good. They really do.
But, like, also, like, when I was in college, you're a bunch younger than me, River. When you were in college, like, I wore the Arizona Nike basketball shorts to class like 5 times a week. Like, that was like, and back when I was in school, like, everybody had the cat shorts. Like, it sucks. Okay.
It does.
It's okay. We can admit it. Now, let me ask you guys this, and I want you to be up here too for this, River. Okay, buddy?
Okay.
How much money would I have to write you for you to mess up your entire wardrobe and not feel good about what you wear in public every day? This isn't a Nikes and Adidas thing. How much would I have to pay you to have an ugly wardrobe?
I would wear an ugly wardrobe for an extra, I would do it for, I'd say 100,000 a year. Like, that wouldn't be my sole source of income. It would be an extra 100,000 a year to look bad. And look, I'm on video all the time, so I'd be choosing to look bad on video.
Yeah,
I would do that.
Just like crappy stuff. That's all. Like, it's just, I actually, for a big dude, like, have spent quite a bit of money on like clothes the last month or in the last year. And I'm extremely picky now that things are starting to fit me better than they did a year ago about the things that I buy. And my wife, and I'm sure Andy's wife is a lot like this too. There's nothing my wife cares more about than what she's wearing and what she looks like. So, like, I know this has nothing to do with football, but I do think that there is a element of like, oh man, like, the fan base has to not look as good as they want to look, and the players aren't going to feel as good about what they're wearing on Saturdays, which I think is a 1% impact on running out of the tunnel. Like, I think people will think I'm crazy, and that's a normal trend here. I think if the players feel good about their uniforms, or they think they look good, and they can run out of that tunnel, there is a 1% or a 2% boost to the way they play the game. I think that look good, feel good, play good is real. And you don't have to agree with me, but I truly believe it.
Well, they can also look good in their post games. And I've noticed this, actually. Have you seen, we keep coming back to the Roback thing because they choose to sponsor us and their stuff's awesome. But have you seen some of the players and coaches wearing this stuff lately? It's awesome. So I mentioned Tennessee has Roback stuff now. That's the Hezzy hoodie with the power T on it. They also have a black one with an orange power T on it. RHOBACK.com. Code Andy, 20% off your first order. I realize we've probably turned this into SpawnCon. Like, this has become a complete ad for Roback. But seriously, Tennessee fans, if you have to, now you're forced with the game day attire, with the officially, this is what the team wears stuff. If you have to get a brand that you probably don't prefer, go to Roback and get the cool shit. Like, it looks good.
Well, the thing that I hate doing this because it feels like we're shilling, and we're really not. Roback stuff is actually extremely comfortable. Like, that's the thing about it. And like, those hoodies and the joggers that I have are comfortable. Like, if I had to pick between that Roback hoodie that you're showing on the screen right now and anything that Adidas makes, I would take the Roback thing 1,000 times out of 1,000. Like, it's not even a debate. Yeah. So I think it's and you know what this worst part about this whole thing is? And I want you to hear me good here, River. I think you agree with me. Tennessee's checkered end zones,
Yep.
their apparel, their color, the power tee is like literally
It's
perfect.
iconic.
It's iconic. Like
Yep.
it's like you don't want to. It's like messing with the
Well,
thing that is
what-
like perfect already. You know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
It's
don't
been
know.
reported that the university will have a lot of creative control with the jerseys and how they look. But
Could you imagine?
Well,
if they
that's the
trot
thing.
out
Like
with that
Tennessee's
rose-filled
not going to
angle
let
up there?
them. Tennessee's not going to let them screw up the uniforms. I don't think, because
yeah,
Tennessee's
right.
uniforms, until they went with the smoky grays and the Halloweens, they didn't really deviate much from
No.
icy whites on the road.
yeah.
White lid, orange jersey,
Yeah.
white pants at home.
I think a lot of people are wanting the on the white away uniforms. They want the black outline around the numbers again, around the orange numbers. So they want that to
Al
come
Wilson
back
had
and-
that black outline.
yeah.
I think if it's good enough for
Yeah.
Al Wilson, it's good enough.
If
It's
it
good
reminds,
enough for Joey Aguilar.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, congratulations on collecting your bag, Tennessee, and congratulations to Apple shareholders today. It's dividend day. But I don't. What are we doing?
Well, okay, let me ask you this, Ari. If it helps you get better players, if one company's more aggressive about how many college football players it signs to NIL deals than another, is that an advantage in this day and age?
Well,
Because these are the deals that will pass the clearinghouse.
Everybody has been keenly aware of the Adidas involvement in the basketball stuff, right? Like that's
Yes.
that's out
They
there.
were clearly funneling players to Adidas schools. There was a whole FBI case about it. Yes.
But I think that you should explain, because you're better at this than I am, to the listeners how exactly Adidas sponsorship of Tennessee with their more aggressive approach will help them get better players. Like how does that manifest specifically?
Well, it's not something Tennessee can advertise, but it is something that if Tennessee's best recruits happen to wind up with really nice Adidas deals personally, which again, those will pass the clearinghouse because those are the type of people Adidas signs. It's not out of the ordinary.
Can you sell can Tennessee legally sell, hey, you come here, you have a better shot, or you will get an Adidas deal?
I don't know that they can.
outside the lines.
I don't know that they can expressly say, but I mean, none of the rules really matter at this point.
Right? Like,
I don't even think it matters if you can say it or not. I think if it's implied and if it's demonstrated, if the next we'll see, because again, this doesn't start until next school year, so 2026-27 school year. If you see guys getting deals and recruits see guys getting deals, they'll know. Like that sort of information travels very quickly.
yeah. And also, who cares if you can or not? Forget the rules. No one's following them anyway.
but
Hey,
this is one you could actually follow fairly easily within the rules.
Go get paid, kids. It's been long enough of this dancing back and forth.
But again,
but
as I mentioned before, Jeremiah Smith is an Adidas athlete. He plays for a Nike school. He has to wear a Nike uniform. He has to wear Nike shoes when he plays for Ohio State. When he's photographed outside the football facility, he's wearing Adidas. But Adidas had to make sure they got in the Jeremiah Smith business early. Because when Jeremiah Smith gets to the NFL, he can wear whatever cleats he wants.
So can Jeremiah Smith not wear team sponsorship Ohio State gear to class? Like, how does that
whatever
work?
he wants? They can't tell him what to wear to class.
Yeah.
Also, you think he's got a lot of in-person classes? Or you think he's got mostly online classes? I don't know his schedule.
He strikes me as somebody who would like Air Jordans, and that doesn't mesh
But he's
well.
not. Well, he can wear Air Jordans in the facility for sure because those are Nike product. But
But if he went to
I'm
Easton Town Center,
that Adidas, which pays him, probably would prefer he not be photographed on campus wearing Air Jordans.
okay, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he wants to go to Easton to get some payway and go to a movie, and he is wearing Air Jordan 11s, does he get in trouble?
I would bet he does.
Yeah,
Like
that
that's
would suck. That
He's
better be-
getting
it's a
paid to
big
wear
bag.
Adidas now.
It's a big bag.
Yeah.
That would suck.
And
You
Adidas has
respect
always
how it-
been pretty aggressive on this stuff. Like Nike is probably a little more selective in who they sign. Adidas is aggressive and pays, and has been aggressive and has paid. So that's kind of, now they're doing it. Well, and we've seen them do this with other programs, but this is kind of the blockbuster version of that.
You know what? Kudos to Adidas too for knowing what people care about. I think Adidas has done a pretty good job of marketing itself. You know,
I guess when you come out of the biggest sport in the world, you kind of learn some things. And that's they're a soccer company from Germany. Like they've learned some things.
Yeah.
But again, if you're a Tennessee fan and you are bummed about the Adidas thing, well, good news. Your Roback collection just dropped this week. Roback.com, RHOBACK.com. Code Andy, 20% off your first purchase. Ari, we got to talk to some coaches. One of our favorites. We've had him on the show multiple times now, and he is so interesting to me. He went and revived your alma mater for a minute.
for 5 minutes. Yeah. It was
And
good.
then
Though.
he went to Washington, where there was a massive rebuild following a trip to the national title game. So Jedd Fisch went into last season, and he told us last year, hey, this is going to be a rebuild. This is not the same team. There's a lot of work to be done here. I think he feels like a lot of that work's been done now.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, with Jedd Fisch, he's just the example. And I even think I brought this up to him in the interview, but like coaches get hot and then they fall out of sight very quickly in the sport. Jedd Fisch was really hot 18 months ago. And when you're starting to try to like look at teams that check boxes this year, teams with young, exciting quarterbacks, Washington check.
Damon Williams, yeah.
You know, Washington, a team that has had reasonably high success in the recent past and has good players that come through there. Check. Teams that have really good, you know, profoundly good coaches who have rebuilt programs elsewhere. Check. Like, if you're trying to like come up with reasons to like teams this year, Washington is certainly one of them. I haven't forgotten.
It is.
I haven't forgotten.
And it's one of those teams that you look at the schedule and you see where some of these teams have to play them. Like Ohio State has to go to Washington in late September. That's going to be a tough game for Ohio State.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the stadiums I've ever been to and that I'm dying to go to.
Except for the active volcano thing, which we talked about on the show a few weeks ago.
Do you know, like, and I don't know if people know this, and I don't know, the joke has already aired on the show before, right? Like Mount Rainier.
Yeah, we talked about it when we were going to Big Ten Media Days.
Mount Rainier towers over Washington Stadium, and it's an active volcano. Like, do you like going to Seattle or living in Seattle like every single day? You're like, she could blow at any moment. Like, that would be a pretty big mind.
Well, you did ask Jedd Fisch about this, so
he didn't like it.
Let's talk
just
Washington football with Jedd Fisch, and let's talk geology with Jedd Fisch. We are here with Washington head coach Jedd Fisch, and back on the West Coast now. This is a little bit of a home game for you. Did the Seattle to Vegas flight not too bad, right?
Yeah, Seattle Vegas not too bad. Seattle to Indianapolis last year, that was a hike. So we're excited that it's here and be on the West Coast, not change the time, not change the clock. It's good.
Jedd's a real friend of the program because when we, post things, you're like, what the hell? Or hey, right? Like I like getting the feedback.
He tells us when we mess up our rankings.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give you a little treat. Then last week we were talking about teams that aren't being discussed enough nationally that could shock people, and I thought Washington was one of them. So, what do you think of that?
I can't believe you actually said that. All right, that's impressive. That
What, you think I'm a hater?
Nah, I'm just saying that. I appreciate you bringing that up. I think that I think we have a good team. I really do, and I'm not going to shy away from that. And we have 11 returning starters. A year ago we had 1. We have a returning quarterback that I think is really talented. We got bigger. We got some good portal additions of starters at other programs that were Power 4 programs, not FCS programs from a year ago, and it puts us in a good spot.
You were very honest last year about what the rebuild entailed. Did it go faster than you thought it would, or?
I think we have to see how we play as a team. I feel like it was kind of what it was last year. I mean, you got caught up in a situation where I don't think anyone thought there was going to be that movement that late in the game, January 18th or so. And then how the dominoes fell, and then trying to revamp and retool and rebuild and not really know who the guys are.
Yeah.
Now we're in a good spot. So now we got to roll.
Jed, you have turned around another program recently, and year 1 to year 2 was the biggest jump. Do you find yourself looking back at, here's how I felt in the summer of, between year 1 and year 2, and how do you feel now? Like, are there parallels between we can do that again quickly from year 1 to year 2?
Yeah. I think when we were in Tucson, it was, year 1 was, and it was really, we were so far behind the 8 ball in so many different areas. And one of the things that we did was we wanted to redo the facility and make changes. And we did the same thing at Washington. And now, the construction's done, and we did about a $30 million revamp, and we put ourselves in a position to now be who we want to be. I'm hopeful that we have that similar type jump. I don't know if it can be that good of a jump, but we'll take it if we can do it.
Well, the difference is in Tucson, you had that class coming in, and they came in year 2. You had Damon last year, and then decided to start him at the end of last year. He played really well against Oregon and Louisville. You didn't win either of those games, but it was very clear that this guy's the future. How valuable is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think even we didn't win them, but it was 78% completion.
Yeah.
He was 8 touchdowns, 1 interception.
It's like 10 yards per attempt. It was insane.
Yeah, his numbers were really through the roof if you were to look at it. And then he came back and he just got bigger and stronger, and he's now up to 200 pounds. He was 179 pounds. His ability to understand what we're trying to get done. Jonah Coleman coming back, Denzel Boston coming back. We didn't lose anyone in the portal on offense, and we lost 1 starter on defense, and we replaced him with Tacario Davis.
Right.
So we really didn't have any changes portal-wise. So I think that puts us in a great spot, and Damon now is real comfortable with the receivers around him.
Jed, you know how fickle sports media and sports discourse is. 2 years ago, as you were going through a coaching search, change, whatever, you were one of the hottest. And then, you're going through a build, and then people lose track. And it's not just you. It happens all the time with everybody. And it's almost like people think you forgot how
This is Ari's excuse for us leaving him off the top 25 coaches list.
But, you can go back and check tape, Jed. It's like, I didn't say, the guy forgot how to coach, all of a sudden. But do you have a sense of, I know that building Washington and winning games is obviously the number one goal. But when you're a coach and you see lists and rankings and off-season discourse, do you have a personal fire to be what the hell, man? And then does that drive you, or is it always players first, Washington first?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would be lying if I was to say I'm not externally motivated a little bit. I think we all play with a little chip on our shoulder. You listen to Joe Burrow talking at the quarterback the other day, right? And he, one of the quotes was, I'll always remember who didn't think I was good enough. And I will either, 1, try to prove them wrong, and 2, prove me right. So I feel the very same way. And I think that as we go through the process, I remember when in 2021, Shane Beamer and I were ranked the 2 worst hires in college football. And
do you remember who wrote that?
I don't, Ari.
It wasn't me.
I know.
He does.
I just didn't know.
Being nice.
But you remember those things, and now, I love watching Shane and do what he's doing in South Carolina.
Great.
Yeah, and it's fun.
That is always amazing to me, because when they try to tell you to do best or worst, we can't do that, because 1, you have no idea when somebody's coming into a job, especially you and Shane, good example. You had never been college head coaches before. How do you know that somebody's not going to be a good college head coach? You have no clue, especially if you don't know these people.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the thing is, it's funny because knowing both of you as I did before you got those jobs, I was like, actually, those guys probably have the skill sets to do this. And clearly you did. So,
yeah, well, we're just still, we're still in year 5, both of us going into year 5. And I'm just excited about this team at Washington. I think we have a really good group of kids. I love the amount of kids that have come with us.
Yeah.
That senior day this year, there's a lot of kids that I coached for 4 years at 2 years. And it's just cool to see it. Ephesians Pricesock and Jonah Coleman are both here with us.
Yeah.
And both those guys were class of 22 that you were referring to.
Mhm.
And, we had them for 2 years, and then they came here for 2 years. And it's just fun to watch it grow.
Takario Davis is not somebody that I think is
Oh, he's
getting
gonna be
his
great.
proper
Yeah.
due in terms of just like alien-like traits and stuff. Like, how good of a player is he in the second back half of your defense? And like, can you contextualize how big it is to bring him in?
Yeah, I mean, it was huge to get him. Pricesock's 6'3", Takario's 6'3", 6'3" and a half. So you've got now your 2 corners are both 6'3", 6'3" and a half. You look at them walk on the field together, and you want to play man coverage. You want people to try to, throw it around them or over them. It's very hard to do. So I think having those 2 guys make a huge difference in our secondary. Rashawn Clark is a freshman that we recruited in Arizona that came with us when we got here to Washington, who's from Seattle. And he's going to play nickel for us, and it's going to be really good.
I was gonna say, you're talking about great corners. Your defensive coordinator Ryan Walters, it didn't work out at Purdue. The last time he was at Illinois, he had some pretty great corners too, and that all worked out. I mean, one of them was in the first round. And how much has Ryan added to your defense?
Oh, it's been great. It's been a great get for us. I think it's our biggest off-season acquisition. You look at what he did at Purdue, right? 97th in total defense, goes to first. 107th in scoring, goes to second, whatever it might have been. 5 or 6 categories in the top 5.
Yeah.
And to have him with us now and coordinating, and brought in Taylor Mays to coach our safeties and Brian Odom to coach our linebackers, and then kept everybody else that we've had since 2021 is pretty cool on defense. And I just think these kids are going to benefit, right? It was a top 5 pick 2 years ago.
Yep.
For the Seahawks, right around the corner. He's coached guys that have been drafted in the first round, second round, third round. It should really help our defense.
Okay, we have you, Seattle resident, on the show.
Do you like? I don't know. I know you see clips, but like,
okay. Before we talked,
yeah.
we talked about this. I'm not kidding. For 10 minutes on the show 2 days ago.
Okay, I did not see that.
Are you? Because you're busy. I understand.
But just preface it. We were showing pictures of your stadium.
Okay.
And I've never seen a game there in my career. And I said, that is probably number 1. There it is. Number 1 on stadiums I would love to go to, because I heard it was beautiful. And then can I ask you this?
Well, so what I was telling him about the first time you fly into Seattle and you look out the plane window and you see Mount Rainier.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can you see it from like your office, or
Yes.
do you ever think about like how that's like an active volcano? Like, does that ever like dawn on you, or ever think about it?
No, that's never crossed my mind.
Ari is terrified that if we go
Nor
cover
did
one
I
of your
know
games,
that it was an active volcano.
that Mount Rainier's going to erupt while we're there.
And I just didn't know if that's how normal people thought. I'm like, because I've never been to Seattle. It's one of the 3 remaining major cities in the country I've never been to. And I was like, do people in Seattle think about that like on a day-to-day basis?
No, I don't think so. I've never heard that until today.
Okay. Yeah. Google it. It's pretty terrifying.
This is amazing. It apparently hasn't done anything in 1,000 years. So I think we're
You've got
good.
time, but like and Andy said, like the National Weather Service will give you a heads up if it starts.
Hopefully. One would think.
I would think I feel comfortable going back to Seattle and not.
If we're at Husky
worrying.
Stadium, we can just dive in Lake Washington. We're good.
Yes,
I don't really think that's how that lava works, though.
it would have to get through the water. We're fine.
Or you don't know anything. Like, how do you know how lava works?
That was a topic of conversation at dinner last night, Jed. I don't know anything about anything.
Really?
Like, it's like college football, I think I know quite a bit about, but even then that's limited. But like, just we were playing trivia and I didn't know any answers. Like, and I just like it dawned on me, like, I don't have any general knowledge.
Just stops right at college football.
Yeah.
Well, listen, as someone who remembers things that I shouldn't have any business remembering, it just pushes out useful knowledge. So or things that I need to know. So it's fine.
Yeah.
But you
so
learned a lot in Jimmy Ray Stevens' offensive line room.
Jimmy Ray Stevens, for those who don't know, former Florida offensive line coach. Exactly how you'd imagine if Thomas Magnum, if Magnum PI had grown up in Pensacola and had a giant dip in his mouth. That is the meeting room, the cherry skull from the meeting room. That smell will never leave me.
That is a great description.
I would do an impression of him evaluating our performance, but we would get canceled for it. So
we can't do that.
but
Not
yes.
in 2025.
But we love you, Coach Steve.
Yes, we
Good-
do.
Good
Yeah.
people, Jimmy Ray and Regina Stevens.
That's probably a pretty distinctive scent.
Cherry Skull.
I didn't know they made
Oh.
cherry. I thought it was like wintergreen and all
Oh, it exists.
that. Maybe we'll do a bet this year, and if whoever's
See,
Washington
Jet-
over under, whoever is right or wrong. has
Jet
to do
came up with one of the all-time great college football staffs, though. Some of the Steve Spurrier staffs of when you were in school were just tremendous human beings. They were fun people.
It's amazing. And it's the greatest credit, right, to that staff because you look at it and they all were together for so long.
Yeah.
From Jim Collins to
Yeah.
Lawson Holland to Bob Sanders.
That's right.
I mean, you talk about some of the
Rod Broadway, who became a great head coach in
Dwayne
the
Dixon.
HBCUs. Yes.
Dwayne Dixon.
Yeah. So Dwayne Dixon, you know what he said. Whatever day it is today. What's today? Wednesday.
Yes.
Wednesday,
The
best day of the week. Great day to get better.
That's every day.
And then James Bates, the linebacker, who's now a famous painter, would say, "Best day of the week. Great day to eat butter."
It's a great
But
staff.
I think
And
about
then-
it every time somebody tells me what day it is. I hear Dwayne Dixon in my head. Tuesday, best day of the week. Great day to get better.
It was the best. You know, Buddy Tevens was on that staff.
He
too.
was.
You
May,
know.
may he rest in peace.
Yes,
also. So,
but one of the most special people I've ever
yeah,
been around.
giant Jimmy Buffett fan. So smart. The head coach at Stanford, head coach at Dartmouth. You've gotten to work with such amazing people. You work with Jim Harbaugh. You've worked with McVay. You were.
Yeah.
Do you ever think like how blessed this coaching life has been that all these people have been put in your path?
Yeah, I do. I actually have in my office that the greatest privilege of my life is to coach with the greatest coaches of all time. It's a quote that I have in my office with a wall of all of those guys. And it's just so special to have been around everybody from Coach Spurrier on. And it hasn't stopped, been surrounded by great assistant coaches and head coaches. And I'm real lucky.
Do you think that being a good coach, from a personality standpoint, being weird, like personally, is like a good thing? Like, I mean, like if you like, it's
It's
like,
not weird though.
No, I know, but I'm just asking you.
I mean, they're all kind of weird, but
Yeah.
Like,
well,
who's the most unique personality outside of football coaching tactics that you've been around, and why?
oh, man. I mean,
man, it's worked for Steve Spurrier and Jim
I
Harbaugh.
was going to say,
yeah. I mean, I've
I
worked
would
for
love to
some.
know what it would be like to go to lunch with Jim Harbaugh and not talk about football. Like what that experience would be like.
Well, you probably wouldn't not talk about football.
Yeah.
Jim is great. It's so funny. It's like what you see a lot is really who they are. Like a lot of people, like the mic'd ups and the interviews are, it's hard to hide who you are.
Yeah.
So like who you are is who you are. Now there's always, Coach Belichick is a little bit more quiet in interviews than what he normally is like.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, these guys everyone's really who they are, and we're all unique in our own way. I think we all made our way.
Were
but-
you ever on the Patriots staff when Belichick dressed up in a costume?
No, I was there.
You never
during
had a Halloween
COVID.
party?
No, we dressed up in Zoom calls.
No, if he dressed up as the Gordon
we gotta-
Fisherman back then, yeah.
No. He did the pirate thing one year,
Yeah.
and no, he's
He's
Listen,
a Halloween person.
got.
Loves Halloween.
Wow.
Loves Halloween.
That's amazing. All right, while we've got Jed here, we do have to ask him this because we ask most of our guests this unless we forget. So I'm not going to forget. What are your rules for life, or do you have one main rule for life?
Smile a lot.
God.
I learned that from Coach Spurrier. He said, "Say yes sir, no sir, and smile a lot, and you'll live a great life."
3 simple rules. I have 3 also. Never complain about free food. Never complain about free beer. Never skip leg day. And you will also have a happy life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mine is don't eat at restaurants that specialize in multiple types of cuisine.
Okay.
If they do fish and
Tacos and
pizza
sushi.
or something,
Yeah.
that's not a good thing.
It's a good rule of life as well.
That's
I
my
like
whole
I like
life,
the,
yeah.
I like the Steve Spurrier ones. The Steve Spurrier one that he should do, because if you just go by how he lives his life, always be honest.
Always be honest.
Sometimes brutally so.
How about
Man has never lied once in his life.
how about what he wrote on the whiteboard before every game? Have fun competing.
There you go.
That's a good one in life too.
The only thing I remember is it's not your fault, son. It's our fault for putting you in there.
I've used that one a few times as well.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Okay, Ari, I don't think Jed Fish is too worried about volcanic eruptions.
You
I
know,
think it's more eruptions of points.
You know the thing that I'll say to you, Jed, and I know you're probably in fall camp right now getting your team prepared, but you're an active participant and listener of the show at times. You're keenly aware of our coaching lists and what we say about you and what we think and columns we've written. I've talked to you a lot. You know, we've spoken on the phone before and after you got to Arizona. Come on, throw me a bone and have some fun with me with the Mount Rainier thing. Like, come on, like, what are we doing? Like, you know, like, throw me a bone. It's a podcast.
So we go from a coach who was in Gainesville at the University of Florida at the same time. I was a student. We were both students at the University of Florida at the same time, to a guy who grew up in the same hometown as Ari Wasserman at the same time. They're basically the same age. Kenny Dillingham, the Arizona State coach. And is it weird seeing a guy who essentially you two had almost the same upbringing?
We have mutual friends. Yeah, that's how I've gotten
like
to know
mutual
him.
friends from Scottsdale.
I think it's really cool that somebody his age could be in his position. I think it's even cooler that somebody that, you know, went to the same places that I ate and grew up in the same, you know, quasi neighborhood and, you know, hung out with a lot of the same people that I know, has gotten to be the, you know, this coach and has had the success. And when I talk to him, I feel a sense of community because we do both know that city quite a bit and we knew what it used to be. And, you know, it's been really cool to see. And it also makes me feel bad that I haven't accomplished anything in life because he's I'm older than him, right?
Done at an early age.
Am I older than him?
I think it's yeah, you are. Yeah,
Slightly
I
older
believe he's 36.
Yeah, I think the man's building a house in Paradise Valley and, you know, just living the dream. I don't know. You know, if this doesn't work out for me, I'll go be a GA at Arizona State. Boo, can we move to Phoenix?
I think you have enough mutual friends that you'd probably be able to get the hookup.
Do you think that if I decided to go into coaching that like I could get a start somewhere because of all the people I know? Or do you think I'm not qualified?
Here's the part of it. You don't know anything about football, like the actual X's and O's of the sport.
How hard is that to learn, though, honestly?
I think you could learn it. And I think really the level of grunt work, scut work you'd be required to do at the beginning doesn't require that knowledge. And you'd pick up the knowledge along the way. You're a hard enough worker that you go in there and you'd impress people.
I have to make $13,000 a year for the first 5
Oh,
years.
yeah. You'd be so broke. Yeah.
You know, being a coach would be cool. I don't know. I think I could do it. I think I could do
work. A lot of work.
I think I could do how 70% of the work for being a college coach is not coaching. I think I could do that 70%.
I might even be more than that now.
I think I could do 85% of a coach's job. I don't know if I could do the 10% on Saturdays. Although it is funny because I'm paid to criticize them when they don't do well.
You said it, not me.
Yeah. It is kind of an interesting thing. It's like, should you be able to criticize a coach if you can't explain the X's and O's of the exact play call that they made?
I don't think you have to be able to do it exactly, but you
this.
need to have some surface level knowledge. And I will, but you know, the thing is,
I have more than surface level knowledge, but I can't.
Dillingham's one of the people that kind of, with me recently, showed like how far out of my depth I am in terms of that part of it, because we had a deal when he was the OC at Florida State. Me and Andrea Adelson from ESPN got to go up and call plays in the spring game. And so they give you kind of a truncated play call sheet, and you've got a few options, not a lot of options. And they put the headset on you. And so Kenny was calling, Kenny called plays from the booth at Florida State. So Kenny comes over the headset and he's like, all right, what do you need, Andy? Because he then would relay it to the other coaches and they would signal it out. And so I called the game-winning play in the spring game. I called I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, it was a wheel route. It was a wheel route that wound up going for the game-winning touchdown. And I remember I called it, and Kenny, before the ball is snapped, just goes, Andy, you called a touchdown. Like, it was all he had to do was look at how everybody was lined on the field. He's like, touchdown. This is easy.
I want to ask you this. And I know, like, whenever we get on the mic, it goes a little bit sideways, but I think it's an important question because our friend of the program, Josh Pate,
Mm-hmm.
who we may or may not have on the show here soon. Hopefully we do.
Mm-hmm.
Had a rant once that I disagreed with, and maybe we can talk about it if we get him.
Yeah.
He said, and this was in relation to Georgia fans criticizing Mike Bobo last year.
Mm.
And he said, do you remember this? He went on a rant about how if you can't explain the intricate details of the reasons why a coach arrives at a certain play call, which is the X's and O's, because run the damn ball. It's a lot more in depth than that. It's
of course
personnel, who's tired, why, who's blitzing, all these things that you like watching it on TV. We know 5% of what's going on in the headset, right?
Yep.
Do you feel like it's inappropriate to criticize, not just from our perspective, but a fan's perspective, a coach and their decision making or their results in a game if you don't understand 100% of what's actually happening on the headset?
Never inappropriate from a fan's perspective. It is sometimes from ours if we don't know enough. I think the level of knowledge required to criticize is higher for us because we're getting paid to talk about this stuff. We should know that stuff. For a fan, the person whose dollars pay the coach's salary, whose passion fuels the entirety of this enterprise, they don't have to know anything. They're allowed to criticize whatever they want. That's part of the contract.
But do you criticize the actual play call, or are you criticizing the results of what happened?
It depends on.
But I'm saying I think it's completely appropriate to because stats are stats and numbers are numbers, and wins are wins and losses are losses.
I'll give you an example. We go back to we had a discussion with our friend Ralph Russo about the toss play that Steve Sarkisian called on the goal line for Texas. And I'm sending you guys screenshots of here's why they should have called timeout. They should have dumped out of the play, that it was never going to work because they were never going to be able to have enough blockers on the side that the play was being run on to account for all the people who might be trying to tackle the back. And so that was, but here's the part we don't know. We don't know if somebody went the wrong way, if somebody went in motion when they weren't supposed to, if somebody lined up where they weren't supposed to. But if that is what the play call was, if it was run correctly, then it was a bad play call for that situation. But you do have to know something about that. Like you have to understand what each offensive lineman is doing, why they're doing it, and what the ultimate goal is. If you just say
very rudimentary,
I don't think you should run the ball there, that is not a very, very effective criticism.
The entire press box was like, "What the hell was that?" Like that wasn't a very
right because there are certain things that are basic and fundamental. Going wide against a defense that is that fast in a compressed space is a bad idea. You don't have to know much to know that.
And it's like also, too, the person who blew up that play was the best player in college football last year on the defensive side of the ball. And it's like, okay.
He was not the person who made the tackle. And we talked to Caleb Downs about that. You heard the interview last week. Like Lathan Ransom was the person who made the tackle. And Lathan Ransom, with an incredible individual effort that you actually don't see very often. But it's one of those things that if you don't really understand football, you don't know how great what he did was. He took on a first-round offensive tackle who knocked the living crap out of him, who outweighed him by 100 pounds, knocked the living crap out of him, fought off the block, and made the tackle. Like, you do need to that is such an impressive play that if you don't really know football, you're like, whatever. If you do know football, you're like, how did he do that?
Yeah. Anyway, fun discussion on this.
You know who knows that is Kenny Dillingham, because Kenny Dillingham was a brilliant play caller as an offensive coordinator. Now he kind of lets Marcus Arroyo call the plays, but has proven to be a very good head coach. Year 2, he won the Big 12. Year 3, can he repeat? Here's Kenny Dillingham. I am here with 2 of Scottsdale's most proud sons, Kenny Dillingham and Ari Wasserman. You guys never crossed paths in high school, right?
No,
you're a little older. You're
but
geezer.
we have a mutual friend.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit older than you, and it's kind of crazy to think that like I still feel like I'm 20, and just like watching you like kill it It's like I'm like
Makes you
going
feel like
nowhere
a
in life.
complete
it's
failure.
Like
Yeah.
this guy's over here
I-
just like living the Scottsdale dream and turning the program around, and I'm just I don't know. I'm gonna go to Jack in the Box for lunch tomorrow. You know, like I don't know what.
Are
I
you
got
getting the
going on.
tacos though? I think that's the important part.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
So what is this? We talked to you. I remember talking to you in Arizona, first year on the job. You were trying to massively overhaul the roster. Now you are coming off a Big 12 title. You're bringing back a quarterback that everybody loves. You're bringing back your best wide receiver who didn't get to play in your two toughest games last year. Oh, by the way, how exciting is this for you?
It's exciting. I mean, for us, it's different. And I think that's what's exciting about it is you have different challenges than we had last year. Last year, the challenge, everybody's saying we're bad. This year, the challenge, everybody's saying we're good. And I think that's the exciting part is can you do it, but you're almost flipped upside down. But in reality, everybody starts from zero again. And that's the crazy part about sports is you start from zero. That the narrative's completely different.
Yep.
But you start from zero. And I think that's the hardest thing to convince guys to understand is we're back at square one and you have to restart. And can you get emotionally invested enough again to do what you did again? And the best programs can do that. Other programs just go back to, status quo of where they'll be forever.
I don't know if you recall this, Kenny, but we had like a 45-minute conversation on the phone when you were thinking about taking the Arizona State job, and you kind of outlined your whole plan or how you viewed it would go. And, having had a front row seat to ASU my whole life, I knew some of the challenges that you were facing, but to accomplish that, it's funny that you say you have to start back from, zero on the field you do, but that's not true when you're building a program, I don't think, right? Like
No.
What you accomplished last year will pay dividends in terms of how you try to continue to build that place, right? And I'm wondering, your phrase activate the valley and, all the business owners and the people that support ASU, how have you found, that aspect of your job, coming off of a season like that is going? And like, are you on schedule from what you had in your mind a few years ago?
Yeah, I think we're on schedule. I think people are excited. The stadium, the city, we're built into a mountain. There's golf courses all over. I mean, it's paradise. Other than the 115 it is for 3 months, it's paradise. It's where people want to move and want to live and want to retire. So all you have to do is create something fun, create something that people want to be a part of that's talked about. And if you can do that and win at the same time, then why not us? And maybe I'm a big dreamer. Maybe it's, I should be put back into reality, but I think you got to dream big if you want to accomplish big things. And I think that's the goal is to build that stadium, to build that place, and to the place to be on Saturday night, every single home game. There's nowhere else people want to be in that big city of Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, which is difficult because Talking Stick Casino is like a 5-minute drive from
Listen,
here.
what I find amazing is we have the new generation of head coach here, Kenny, in your 30s. You're on the cutting edge of everything. That recruiting pitch is the same one Steve Spurrier would use in the 90s when he recruited players from outside Florida. People spend their whole lives trying to go to Florida, and I'm offering you right now at 18. So that's how that goes. I don't do the good Spurrier.
That's
like
actually
some-
really good.
some
I
of the other
thought.
guys.
Yeah.
But that was his. Like, people spend their whole lives trying to retire to here. Why don't you just come here at 18 and you're already here?
That's right. People spend their whole lives. I may have to bring him in if that was his pitch to come talk to our
and Steve
recruits.
Spurrier would get along so well.
I've
It
never
would
met
be-
him,
it
but
would be
he's
incredible.
one of the greatest coaches to ever coach. And he did it in such a positive way, such a different way. I always respect people who do it different than other people because they understand that they're not the same. I think the best compliment I ever got was Kenny's going to be Kenny.
Yeah.
And that was just going to be real. And whether it was going to work, fail, succeed, who knows? I'm going to be me.
When did you decide how you were going to be as a head coach? Because I'm thinking about like when you were at Florida State before you went to Oregon, it seemed like you already had a pretty good idea of what you were as a coach and how your personality should go. But does it change when you get in the big chair? Do you realize, I need to act this way, or is it as easy as I can just be me and this is how it works?
I think, there's some times where early it was uncomfortable. And then I realized, but I always tried to be me. I got to where I was at because I was me. I was at Memphis. I get promoted to tight ends coach. We lost somebody who was recruiting Louisiana, and Coach Norvell when I got promoted, asked Coach Lorick, they said, well, who are you going to put in Louisiana to recruit? That's a tough area. And Norvell said, I'm going to put Kenny in Louisiana. And Coach Lorick was like, you're going to put Kenny in Louisiana? That makes no sense. And then Coach Norvell said, Kenny doesn't know how to be fake. He's just going to be real, and people respect that in Louisiana. So he put me in Louisiana. And when I got told that story, I was like, man, is it that powerful just to be yourself?
Yeah.
It's just being real.
A lot of
that
people can't do
powerful.
it. A lot of, or they feel like they have to, because I have this job, I must act this way. Like you don't.
Yeah, I mean, I wear slippers to the building. I mean, I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, people are going to like what they choose to like and not like what they choose to not like. It doesn't matter if I scream at a BYU game, or it doesn't matter if I donate to charity. Somebody's going to say something good. Somebody's going to say something bad. The one thing they can't say is they're going to know who I am. They're going to know what I'm about. And the people that I coach and the people that I work with are going to know who I am. They're going to know I take care of them. That's all that matters to me.
He's wearing slippers, but he's got the swag. Can you show the camera the lining of the jacket? Look
This
at
is,
Sparky inside. Now,
Oh, yeah.
but that is your wife's doing, correct?
This is my wife, and the tailor we have who did all of our players' suits today with all the Pat Tillman lining,
Nice.
and it's pretty cool. Doug does a phenomenal job with all that stuff.
Yeah, the thing that I like about you, Kenny, is that you're young enough where you can connect and know it's cool with the players who are on your team, but you're also ancient in their eyes, in the sense that you could, a mature person that knows how to build a program and stuff. How do you think that your youth, because that was one of the things that people negged you on when you were a candidate for Arizona State? How are you going to offer somebody who's 33 years old this job? Like, how do you think your age has impacted the way that you've gone about things? And then second to that, Arizona State's done a ton of retread hires before you, or guys who were successful elsewhere or whatever. What do you think being from Scottsdale and like understanding that place means? So age and familiarity.
Yeah,
for your success there.
I would say the age piece. I've always been young. I started coaching at 17. I was an offensive coordinator in high school at 21. Like, I was the OC at Memphis at 26. So I've always been close to age. I've always learned how to manage that. So that wasn't even like a thought for me. Like, when people say young, I'm like, well, what about experience? What about, look past the age? Age is a number. What about the years of experience and the things I've been through? That's the number that matters. And I started coaching at 17. I got the head coaching job at 32. I had 15 years of coaching experience, right? Whereas other people start coaching at 25, they would have had 7. So that is new, right? I couldn't have been a head coach at Arizona State 7 years into this thing. I would have failed miserably because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I still don't know what I don't know. In terms of the city, I think the key for that is I understand that people move to the city. Not everybody in the city went to Arizona State, right? There's people at this table that didn't go to Arizona State, but we've converted them to Arizona State fans,
That's
right? Slowly.
Well, one day when the place I went to had Fields a football team, maybe we can have another discussion. But did I just like backstab my entire university?
That was, what's the Nirvana? The Nirvana song, Territorial Pissings. That was Territorial Cup Pissings right there.
Andy, before we go,
Okay, we got to let him go.
I know,
So-
I'm so sorry. Just one last thing for you. I'm not
Okay.
even going to speak. I took him to Chompies when we covered.
Oh,
I took him to
Let's
Chompies when we
go.
covered the Fiesta Bowl, I think 3 years ago. Tell him what you ate.
it was the sliders.
Jewish
The-
sliders.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
the
yeah.
challah sliders, all of those, all of the fries, whatever half of Ari's sandwich was, all of his fries. It was incredible.
And then you had a dessert too. It was most food I've ever seen.
Those
a human being
the
consume.
challah corned beef
There were 12,
sliders
12 of them.
and
There-
pastrami sliders.
He
Oh,
ate 12 and
you
then he
ate
ate-
12 of them?
And then he ate half of my Mile High
I can't do
sandwich.
this anymore. But
That's dangerous.
well,
And then he covered the game like nothing was wrong.
then we covered the Clemson Ohio State Fiesta Bowl. I don't think it was targeting still, but hey, it is what it is.
He got through it, but I took him to one of our delis in Phoenix, and I thought you'd appreciate that.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. I actually played youth baseball with the founder of Chompy's son.
Oh, really?
Yep.
What's his name?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I
played
think
youth
I know
baseball.
that
Chompy
guy.
Von Chomps a lot.
We'll figure it out off
Yeah.
the air. But like I remember, I think I used to work at a summer camp with that kid.
Probably.
And this has been Scottsdale 2004 memories. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you.
That was Arizona State head coach Kenny Dillingham, Ari, and he just seems so at ease with all this stuff. And he's quite a bit younger than me. He's about the same age as you. I just don't know that I'd be as comfortable in this role at that point in my
Oh.
life.
I mean, now he can be. There are certain
But
things
he
that
was like that when he got
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah. no, his fire is real. He's like it's like PJ Fleck, but like not as loud.
Right. He doesn't. It's not as. I don't want to say gimmicky because I think that's unfair to PJ. Because, like I said, and we had PJ on Big Ten Media Days. It's not really gimmicky because it's who he is day to day. Like that's just who he
I
is.
think the way I said it was true. I think it's passionate but not as loud.
Yeah, I think that's probably right, and definitely had a plan. And you have to remember how much he had to turn over that roster. That was a very hard job that he took. What happened at the end of the Herm Edwards era? You had the NCAA stuff, but you also had, kind of mismanagement of the program toward the end of that, and he had to completely start from scratch.
Yeah. And that I guess it also shows you too the power of hitting on a few guys in the portal. Under-evaluated guys or guys you took a shot on, and hell, Sam Levitt and Cam Scadaboo, and can you do it again? And he knows the importance of doing it again.
Yeah, and it will be fun to watch because Sam Levitt's back. Jordan Tyson, the receiver who missed their 2 toughest games last year, he's back. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and in a league that it is it is anybody's game in the Big 12. I'm looking at that schedule: at Baylor, at Utah, at Iowa State. That's not easy.
Yep.
That's not easy, but very excited to see what Arizona State does. One more, Ari. We were talking about that Ohio State defense earlier in the show. We were talking about the play that Caleb Downs and Lathan Ransom made on the toss against Texas. Lathan Ransom is gone, of course. Caleb Downs is back, but not many other guys from that defense are back. In fact, 8 starters are gone. Sonny Styles, one of the few who is back. He's a linebacker. He started out as a safety. How this man ever played safety at this size? His speed is incredible for this size, but he is kind of now the prototype of what you want in a linebacker in this era of football.
Yeah, great in the video game too, which we brought up. They have guys again, Andy. They've got dudes again.
But like Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, like they have to play a different role than they played last year, because last year you had Jack Sawyer, you had JT Tuimoloau, you had a bunch of guys that had played tons of games for Ohio State, that understood everything, that knew the defense backward and forward, that everybody was on the same page. Now you've got a new defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, and you've got a bunch of guys who haven't really had to start yet, and people like Sonny Styles who have to make sure they uphold the standard. So that's his challenge. Here is Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles. All right, we got Sonny Styles with us. Sonny, I'm standing next to you, and how were you ever a safety?
I don't know. That's all I knew all my life, but made it work somehow. Coach knows did a great job in my first 2 years, but I'm glad I'm a linebacker now. Definitely,
It feels like you were made for this era of playing linebacker.
no doubt. Yeah, I think the areas now is like you see those big, the tall, long linebackers and athletic. They're asked to do a lot now, especially like the great ones in the NFL. So.
Ohio State's been doing that for years, man. They had Darren Lee was a quarterback in high school, and they moved. It's the fast, big. The thing I don't know is standing next to you right now, how you could possibly be as fast as you are. Because Andy, I was telling him before we started, he's an absolute dog in the video game.
Absolutely.
If you spy the quarterback and rove around with him, you could hop in front of some passes.
When you're that hybrid guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did pretty well with me in the game. I'm pretty happy with it, but
Do you use yourself?
yeah, I do a little bit. I can't lie.
Were you a guy who would play with a second level player before? Because I'm a big DN, D tackle kind of guy when I'm playing. So
I love using a linebacker in the game because like you kind of can make all the tackles and make all the interceptions in the game if you know how to do it right, especially if you do a fast linebacker. So sometimes you got to sub the linebackers out for the safety.
You ever sub yourself out?
No, I'm kidding.
when you get the game, is that the first thing you do is figure out, okay, what do I look like in this thing?
Yeah, that was the first thing I did. I went to play with myself, play with Ohio State, see how good we were. So it was pretty exciting.
You ever play online?
A little bit, not too
Hit
much.
the headset and just be like, What I would do if I were in the game. I would do a user pick or make a huge play with me, and I'm like, that's actually me that did that.
Well, you had that happen to you with a guy who
did.
plays not in the FBS. So he was. You asked him if he was a failed college football player. He's
Yeah.
like, no, I'm a current college football player.
Yeah, it was,
and he felt like a
I
giant
get pretty
asshole.
nasty on there, Sonny. I'm not proud. I'm not who I am on that thing.
No, I've had some rough experiences with the online people. They get pretty rough.
Isn't it bad when you know it's like an 8-year-old though?
Yeah, I usually have to mean in like other games like Fortnite or like Call of Duty. It's like some little kid on the mic telling me I suck, delete my game.
So here's my philosophy on that though. If you get a kid and he's talking shit, like I talk to him like he's an adult. Like his parents are gonna have to sit him down. Like I don't like.
Yeah, the FBI is coming to your house, dude.
I'm not trying. I'm
all
not
there
taking
is
it,
to
easy,
it.
but I'm not taking it easy on him especially if he's talking trash to me.
Uh-huh. And as soon as that knock comes,
Every word.
Mr. Wasserman.
Yeah.
That's where you got to just put them on mute.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
No,
what I tell. That's what I tell my son. I was like, I don't care what they're saying. I'm worried about what you're saying.
No. I'm a father figure in that point, and I'm going to let him know that you don't talk.
You
to
ain't
your
anybody's
older
daddy. We know that right now. All right, Sonny, you are one of the veterans on this defense. It is completely changed. We talked to Caleb a little bit about it too. How do you guys get these guys that are in new roles comfortable?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot of guys that's been in the program for quite some time, so they know what it takes to be elite and things like that. And I think they've been itching to wait their turn, especially like a lot of guys on the defensive line. You know, we had 4 really good guys just leave, and they were all had some really good young guys behind them. So excited to see them go, but you know, I think Coach Mick does a great job just reinstilling our culture every year. So I have full confidence everyone will be ready to go.
Caleb told us what Mickey Marotti made him do to kind of forget that you won a national championship last year. He said he put him against Jeremiah, and it was like figure it out.
Yeah.
What's Coach Mick do to you to make you move ahead?
Man, it's just constantly challenged me all the time. You know, sometimes calling you out, saying you did this, hey, you missed a line, even though maybe I didn't miss a line, but just seeing how I'm going to react and see how I'm going to respond. And then also just putting you in roles where you have to lead. Maybe you got a guy that's a long snapper and you got to help him be the linebacker, which he's probably going to have a hard time doing, but you got to be able to encourage him and tell him he can do it and stuff like that. So putting you in those situations where you can really challenge yourself and learn how to lead.
What do you think, now that you're a national champion, would be the next fulfilling thing for you next year? What do you need to have on your college resume in order to, go out with feeling like you did everything you needed to do?
Well, first and foremost, you got to go ahead and do it again. So kind of wash that down the drain and normally think about that this year. But, the biggest thing for me for my last year, I want to leave a lasting impact on the younger guys in the team. I remember being a freshman, sophomore, and I had guys like Cameron Babb, Xavier Johnson, Josh Proctor, those kind of guys. They left lasting impacts on me and helped me become a better man. I'm hoping to do that for the younger guys on my team this year. But just do as much as I can this year. Just leave it all on the field and go get another ring.
So you have a huge game to start with Texas. Does it make it easier that you just played them?
In a way, obviously they're a little bit of a different team. We're a little bit of a different team. So it's exciting though. You get to come out week one, see what all the work you were doing this summer, all this work you did in the spring, and see what happens.
Do off-season workouts hit different when coming out of the gate you're playing another team that is in the national conversation? Title contention?
No, I mean, regardless of who we're playing week one, that the work's going to be the work, and it's going to be real hard. So it almost doesn't affect it at all with the off-season training. I'd say more so maybe it would affect it a little bit more in camp. Maybe you start preparation a little bit early. I don't know. We'll see how it goes this year.
So Caleb said something really interesting. I want to ask you where this hits you, because he said the sense of fulfillment of winning a national championship, it sort of just it fades away, and then you realize we have all this work to do. When did that happen for you?
Yeah, so for me, we won and we left the stadium, went to the hotel, and I'm sitting in my hotel room like, man, we did it. Like, it feels good. And then we get back, have a new meeting. All the old guys are gone. It's about a week, 2 weeks later. I'm like, all right, let's start over. Back at ground zero, so let's go to work.
Wait, what time did you get back to your hotel room the night you won the national title?
I don't know. We were at the stadium for a while. But I went back. I was just hanging out with my family most of the time.
Yeah, I was like, what would you do to celebrate your number one accomplishment in life?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I was on a national championship team.
Yeah, what'd you do the night?
I went out on Bourbon Street.
Yeah, I was gonna
It was
say,
in New Orleans.
out in Atlanta,
I signed a boob. I was like, you don't want my signature? She's like, I don't care. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm a walk.
You
I
signed
have
a
to
boob?
play. I signed a boob. So
No, I was doing, I
Happy
was,
Gilmore was big back then, so
Hadn't come out yet. That's how old I am.
yeah, I wasn't doing too much crazy.
So I
Just
guess what you
hanging
need
out
to
with my family.
worry about or do this year is try to sign a boob.
Yeah, I probably won't be doing that this
Put
year.
that on the bucket list.
It's also a very different time.
National
so,
title
yeah.
game's in Miami, so let's not
Oh yeah.
never say never.
Oh man, yeah, I got a lady, so that's
Okay, yeah.
that's not gonna be
At
happening
least
for me.
this is
You're a good guy.
you
Sonny.
are a
Yeah.
better man than I. Beautiful, Sonny. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Appreciate your guys' time.
That is Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles, and man, if you're not bringing back a whole lot of starters, you could do a lot worse than having Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs as the guys who are going to help teach the new starters. So again, Ohio State has to replace a lot of starters on defense, but I'm not that worried about how good the Buckeyes will be on that side of the ball because one, they're always recruiting really well, but two, you have guys like Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles to make sure that those guys know what they're doing. And I think that's a huge plus for Ohio State and Sonny Styles. Again, this is one of those where the way football's evolved, the way positions have evolved, he's now the physically perfect version of this type of linebacker. And, he might have been a big, and did play safety. And in another era of college football, he probably would have played safety his entire career. But now he's perfect for the spot he plays now. And it's so much fun to watch him play. Tomorrow, big show. Whatever the NCAA decides on Michigan, we'll break it all down. Also, it's a Friday. So you got Dear Andy and Dear Ari. Great mailbag questions. I'll tease you with one. Who's the better coach all time? Urban Meyer or Kirby Smart? It's a fascinating question. Also, big one on Friday. Our producer, River, has been in combat this week, in conflict. There's apparently a murder bird flying around Nashville. This is a very vicious mockingbird that keeps attacking our producer when he's trying to walk his dog. We will have an update on the murder bird on Friday's show.